Hi guys, welcome back to Stitched by Esther channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make a placket and a collar on a dress. Now, I'll start by marking the shoulder to the half length of this dress. The half length of this dress is 11 inches. That is the bust point. This dress is a free dress from the bust area downwards, so that is why the half length is 11 inches. So I'll start by marking from the top of the paper to 11 inches. The top of the pattern paper is the shoulder line, while the one I'm marking now is the half length. I'll go ahead now and mark the shoulder measurement. The shoulder I'm working with is 17 inches. 17 divided by 2 is 8.5 inches. I'll mark 8.5 inches at the shoulder line. Then I'll go ahead now and mark 9 inches. 9 inches will serve as the chest line. From the top of the paper to 9 inches is the chest line. I'll go ahead now and mark the same shoulder measurement at the chest line. I'll mark 8.5 inches also at the chest line and connect with a ruler to the top. This is me making sure that I have the same measurement at the shoulder line and also at the chest line. I'll go in with my bust measurements now. The bust measurements divided by 4, and I'll make a mark at the point. And I'll add 2 inches allowance to 8. Also at the half length, I'll mark the same measurements and I'll connect with a ruler. On the shoulder line now, I'll come down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slant, and on the chest line, I'll go up by 3 inches. Then moving on to the neckline, the neck width is 2.5 inches, while the neck depth is 3 inches. This is for the front pattern. I'll go in with my curve now and connect the neckline. Moving on, remember I came up from the chest line by 3 inches. From that 3 inches mark now, I'll go in by 1/4 of an inch. Then I'll come in with my curve now and connect the armhole. And that is all for the front pattern. Now to the back pattern. I'll start by marking 1.5 inches from the top of the paper and I'll connect with a ruler. So I'm leaving a space of 1.5 inches at the top of the paper. I will now start marking my measurements from that line. I'll start by marking the half length of the top, and that is 11 inches. Same measurement I used for the front, 11 inches. After marking the half length, I'll go ahead and mark the chest line. The chest line is also 9 inches. Same measurements I used for the front pattern. This is the back pattern of the dress. This dress does not have a zip at the back because of the placket in front. I'll go in with my shoulder measurements now. I'll mark 8.5 inches at the shoulder line. And I'll also mark 8.5 inches at the chest line. And I will connect with a ruler. For the back neckline, remember the width we used at the front is 2.5 inches. Also, the width for the back pattern is also 2.5 inches. But the depth of the neckline for the back pattern is ½ inch. I'll connect with my curve. For the shoulder slant, I'll come down by 1 inch from the shoulder line and connect back to the neckline. Then I'll go ahead and get the midpoint. From that slant to the chest line, I'll get the midpoint and I'll make a mark at the midpoint. From the mark, I'll go in by ½ inch. Then I will come in with my bust measurement now. The bust measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inch allowance. Then I'll come in with my curve to connect the armhole. Also of the half length line, I'll mark the same measurements, my bust divided by 4 plus 2 inch allowance, and connect it with a ruler. So now we move to the top of the paper. Remember we left a space of 1.5 inches. Because it's more like a shirt dress because of the placket in front, I'm adding 1.5 inches at the shoulder line. I marked 1.5 inches and I connect with a ruler, just extending the back shoulder. Then I'll connect with my curve, just like what I'm doing now. And with that, we are done with the back pattern. The reason why I drafted this half length, both the front and the back pattern on a paper, is because I'll be using a black fabric for the top of this dress. If I draft on a black fabric, you might not really see the markings clearly. That is why I drafted it on a paper. So you can easily draft it on your fabric if you are trying out this tutorial on your own. This is what it looks like after cutting out the patterns. Because we extended the back pattern, by 1.5 inches. I will reduce the front pattern by half an inch. The reason why I'll reduce the front pattern by half an inch is because so that the back can rest nicely on the front pattern. So it will extend a little. The back of the dress will extend a little to the front. So I'll reduce the front pattern by half an inch. That is what I'm doing now. This is to show you what I mean by the back extending to the front slightly. Just this way, the back will extend to the front. Moving on to the placket now. The length I'll be cutting for the placket is 9 inches, while the width is 2 inches on fold. That is, if it is not on fold, the width will be 4 inches. But I'm marking on fold, so I'll be marking 2 inches on fold for the width, while the length is 9 inches. And I'll be cutting 2 pieces for the placket. For each of the placket, I'll add interfacing to it. You can use a soft one for the interfacing, a soft interfacing for this placket. Or you can use the popular one we know as stay. This is what it looks like after adding my interfacing. Now I went ahead to mark 1.25 on the placket. You can see my marking already. I already marked it 1.25. That is 3 centimeters on the placket. Now I'll get the midpoint of the front. This is the front pattern this is the front fabric we are working with. So I'll get the midpoint, and from the neckline to where I made the mark is 7 inches. That will be the length of the placket. So I made a mark there at the center, and at the center, from the center I marked ½ inch on both sides of the center, and I also made a mark there so that I can easily place my placket on it and stitch down. You can just watch what I'm doing so that you can get it. I'll place both plackets on the line I made and I'll pin it down. Over to the sewing machine now. From the neckline up until where I will stitch to, where my stitch will end, is 7 inches. That is what I'm doing now. From the top of the net fabric down to the end of the stitch I'll be making on the placket is 7 inches. This is me making sure that I don't extend the 7 inches mark while stitching. So I'll make sure I don't extend that 7 inches mark. I'll do the same for the other plackets and I'll show you what it looks like. After stitching, I'll cut open the net fabric. I won't cut up until the 7 inches where my stitch ends. I'll leave a space of like 1 inch. Then from that point, I'll cut open in a Y shape form. Please watch what I'm doing now. I won't cut straight, I'll cut in a Y shape form. After that, I'll turn the placket inside out to lay on top of each other. And I'll make a straight stitch at this particular point I'm showing you now. A straight stitch where I'm showing you now. After that, I'll top stitch round the placket just to secure the placket. This is what it looks like after top stitching, and our placket is ready. Because the front of the dress is plain net, I cut out 2 pieces of Ankara fabric to beautify the front. The width of the fabric is 1.5 inches. I'll stitch it on top of the net just to beautify the front of the dress. I will join the back to the front now, and after joining, I'll show you how to draft the collar. After joining the front and the back, I measured round the neckline and I got 17 inches. That means my collar, the length of my collar has to be 17 inches. And since I'm drafting on fold, that means it will be 8.5 inches, while the width of the collar is 1.5 inches. So that is what I marked here. I'll cut out now and I'll show you what it looks like. I'll go over to the ironing table and iron my collar piece to the Ankara fabric I'll be using. The Ankara fabric I'm ironing on is on fold, so I can get two pieces at the same time. I'll cut out now, leaving a space of half an inch around the collar. And I'll fold in half an inch of the first piece of the collar, the one that has the interfacing horn. I'll fold in half an inch at the down part. Then I'll go over to the sewing machine now and stitch. First off, the half inch I folded in, I'll stitch it down before attaching the other part to it. Now I will attach the other part to it and close round the edges. Please watch closely so that you can get what I'm doing. After stitching, I'll trim out a little bit from the allowance and go over to the ironing table and press it. After pressing, this is what it looks like, and it's time to attach it to the neckline of the dress. So I'll notch the center back of this dress and I will notch the midpoint of the collar, and I will attach both the midpoints together. Pinning the midpoint of the collar and the center back of the dress makes it easy to attach the collar. That way you are sure that the collar matches the neckline of the dress. So after pinning it, then you can just stitch it around. That way you are sure that everything matches up. I started stitching from the back, and this is what it looks like after stitching. Then now I'll just top stitch on it, on the collar. Now I'll top stitch. And with that, we have come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, please click on the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and click on the notification bell so that you can get notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.